Welcome to a brand new week. This is our second edition of Start the Week. We started the ball rolling last week, and today there's a little bit of innovation. You know, we have to move forward. We tell people to move forward, so we are also moving forward. So Zan, last week we were talking about, I think the issues from last week is still a carryover for this week because number one, we are very interested in what's happening to the continuing search for MH17, MH370, and also one new element locally which is of interest is what's happening in the state of Selangor.
Right,
You must be terribly excited about the political developments one way or the other in Selangor. Do you think by the end of today, because we have heard word that the Menteri Besar of Selangor is having an audience with the Sultan or with the Council of the Selangor Royalty, I don't know whether the Sultan will be present, we will expect to see some development in that front?
Well, I guess if you look at last week, right, there been so many things coming up. We had like latest news every hour, statements coming out every hour. So this week, I mean, we've heard that the Menteri Besar will actually stay as Menteri Besar, as an independent, right? But now that they're having a meeting at the Istana, I guess we're going to have to wait and see what's the development. What do you think, Encik Razak? What do you think we can expect this week, and how are we going to cover that issue at the Astro AWANI newsroom?
Number one, we will cover it as news, purely as news. We do not take sides. Sure. This involves one party in a stew of its own making. So I'll just sit by the sideline. Anyway, Selangor BN itself is not in a position to decide one way or the other because the opposition is all powerful in Selangor.
Yeah, of course.
This is for the PR themselves to find a solution. But they must find a solution quickly enough because there will come a point when people say, you've been given the opportunity for 2 terms to govern a state. Show that you can govern. People's patience will wear thin if they show themselves not to be above politics. But by its very nature, what is happening is politics. Politics is about, in this particular case, you have to have a certain level of party discipline. Right. You know, there's this word called the whip. In Parliament, parties employ whips. A whip is literally a whip. Pukul orang. You know, if a horse or lembu misbehaves, you come up with a whip. So you hit the end portion of the animal so that it falls into line. So in this particular case, if you see the Menteri Besar has shown that he has a mind of his own, and that is a no-no for party discipline. Whether it's for the benefit of the rakyat, it's for the rakyat to decide at the ballot box. So the people, when they go to the polls every 5 years, decide, is this the kind of government we want? Are we happy with what he's done? Are we happy with the machinations that go on behind the scenes? Because politics is all about people wanting power. Right. And people like me, I do not have a stomach for that. I don't know about you, but it's not for me. You know, every 5 years or every 3 years, you run through this uncertainty of looking behind your back, and there are people, party members, who want to unseat you for whatever reason. If it's purely for, that is the very nature of politics, I think it's something which politicians have to live with. And people like you and me, who every 5 years, you have the power to decide, is that something you can stomach, you want to live with? Go ahead. So I think we will allow the politics of Selangor to take its turn. There is no need for us to go to the streets of Shah Alam or wherever and throw stones and picket in front of the MB's home or somebody else's home in Segambut. I do not want to tell you who it is. Everyone knows who that person is, that family is. But you know, let's go on with our daily lives. We have work to do. We have to find to go our own 9-to-5 existence. Let them do. They are politicians. They are very good at it, in inverted commas. Let them go ahead. So that is one of the local story which we will keep track of, which will keep us occupied this whole week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like you. It's not for me, but it will be interesting to see people get whipped, right? So the next big story that we can expect this week, I'm guessing MH17.
The story is still going on. It's still continuing. We've heard, if we look towards Europe, one team of our police personnel are already making their way back. They have come back already. We sent initially a group of 60 or 68 personnel. Ostensibly, they were supposed to go there to help in the post-crash search. And they were based in Ukraine, which is about, well, it's like, if you consider it's like Kuala Lumpur to Penang, about 800 kilometers away. Right. And from there, if you want to go to the crash site, you have to travel another few hours to a town called Kharkiv. And from there, you have to decide whether it's safe for you to go into the Donetsk area, which is now, to all intents and purposes, it's an independent nation because the Ukrainians are trying to win back Donetsk from the rebels. Yep. So in the first place, I keep asking myself, did we have to send 68 or whatever people there? Yeah. Because if you look at Twitter land and social media, a lot of people are very skeptical about, there was one picture of at least 3 ministers, Malaysian ministers, in Kiev of all places. Yep. Whatever for. I keep thinking there should be a certain level of accountability for us to plan better. There is the internet. I Skype with people from all over the world, and it's, of course, the language barrier is difficult, but even if you go in to see the person face to face, you have to bring an interpreter. Yeah. So get all the intricacies of engaging an interpreter here in Malaysia. I'm sure there are lots of people who can speak Ukrainian or Russian. Yeah. I just realized that Ukrainians don't speak Russian.
They don't.
They speak Ukrainian.
They speak Ukrainian. Except for those in Donetsk, though.
Okay. Oh, let's not get into the local politics.
Geopolitics.
No.
But I mean, access to the site has been very limited too. So if you have so many people there, do they actually get access to the actual crash site?
You know, one of the policemen, I think he's from VET 69. VET 69 is known for their physical prowess rather than their ability to negotiate. Okay, right. They go there, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. If I have to rescue anybody, I will go with my guns blazing. They said that they were at the mercy of the people there, either the Ukrainians. Once you reach the border, it would be a knock on the door of the rebels and say, can I come in? But it's been so long. Why do you want to go there? I think the only reason, legitimate reason for us to go through all the expense and effort is for the relatives, the next of kin. I like to say next of kin has not got a plural. Hey, minister, it's next of kin, no plural. But never mind, that's my favorite bugbear. If we bring them, because they want to know what's happened. What is there, if we go now to recover bodies, what will we find? Out of respect and in all practicality, I think the best thing to do now is, if we are going to go through the expense of mobilizing a special flight all the way to Europe, it's for the family members. Forget about trying to retrieve bodies anymore. I may appear callous and heartless, but let's be practical. Right. So please don't send any more delegation of ministers unless there's a special reason. I was told that Malaysian diplomacy, our brand of diplomacy, was what secured the black box. But that's for people to speculate in the blogs.
Right.
I invite them to do so.
We're expecting the victims to come back. We're preparing, right? Malaysia's preparing for the return.
But I think the job is, I think it's left to the safe hands of the Dutch in trying to identify who the victims are. Right. To all intents and purposes, at the moment, I think we have been able to, sadly, it's body parts, right? The bodies, you don't have whole bodies anymore. Those that they do have, I think it's a matter of matching your DNA profile, which was sent to them. By now, if we have identified, we have matched DNA profile to recovered bodies, we would know who they are now. Maybe it's a matter of getting enough. It boils down to numbers. You don't want to just send one casket. And also, it's been decided that non-Muslims, they would be cremated there and the ashes be brought back. Okay. So that would be a lot easier rather than trying to send body parts, tissue. You know, it's been so long. So it's something for which I think we must move on to a new phase where we want to look after the interests, the welfare, the emotional needs of the next of kin here. What do we do? I think organizing a special trip for these people, and I think even the rebels would look at it with a bit of sympathy and to allow them access to just see the site for themselves.
Yeah. And I think the next big issue is the state of Malaysia Airlines, right? I think we're going to go to our business desk editor, right? One of the editors on our business desk, Ranjit, right?
Yes.
So,
Okay, next on the agenda, we have to talk about MAS. And for the person who is going to talk about MAS and its trials and tribulations is our friend Ranjit. Ranjit, did you buy MAS when it was 8 ringgit?
No, I didn't.
Lucky you. Did you buy MAS when it was 3 ringgit?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. When did you buy MAS?
I haven't bought
You
one.
didn't. Are you lucky, or are you clever, or are you an investor who knows what not to touch?
I wouldn't say any of the above.
Okay. So those people who bought MAS at 3 ringgit, at 8 ringgit, at 2 ringgit,
Yeah.
they will be crying all the way to the bank now.
Yes.
Why?
Okay. If you look at it, aviation stocks globally have done very badly for the last 2 or 3 years. You have something like cumulative losses in most of the major airlines in the world. So it is difficult, aviation business is difficult, especially for full service airlines with the onslaught of hybrid and low cost airlines. And especially in the case of Malaysian Airlines, it has not been making money. It has been losing money for the last 3 years.
5 million a day, I hear?
Yes, the cash burn rate at
And that's your money and my money.
the Khazanah's money vis-a-vis
Our money.
the people's money. Yes, so the cash burn rate is about 5 million a day. So that translates to about 150 million a month. So Khazanah's cash can last it until next year. So it has to undertake some kind of restructuring and reorganization. So last Friday, Khazanah, being a 69% shareholder in MAS, has already announced that it's going to take the company private. And the offer price offered to the minority shareholders of MAS was 27 cents. So today we can see a heavy volume being traded on MAS. And the intraday high this morning was 26.5 cents, just 0.05 cents short of the 27 cents target price.
So Ranjit, this interest in MAS, there's heavy volume despite the fact that it is tanking. What does it show? What is happening out there? Why are people still, and why is there still activity?
No, if you look at it from a very simplistic point of view, there is still a margin to be made. If you come in at 26 cents and you buy on volume, you still have a profit of about 1 cent minus your brokerage costs. So if you buy on volume and there is still room for some profit making. But of course, the offer now, what's next in this MAS episode is that they have to call for an EGM. So MAS board has already agreed that they are going to call for an EGM, and where they will table this offer from Khazanah to the minority shareholders to accept the offer at 27 cents. And I spoke to an aviation analyst this morning, and the probability of Khazanah upping its stake is very minimal. So most probably the 27 cents offer will stay. So there is not much room to profit from the stock at this moment.
If you look at the portfolio of investors, are they big enough? People like the EPFs of this world, would they be in a position to say, I want 30 cents instead of 27?
I think at the end of the day, if it's when you look at EPF has got about 0.18% of holdings in MAS, and MAS and Khazanah basically belong to the government. They're government institutions. So this plan has been forwarded by Khazanah. So I don't think EPF is in a position to say that they want more money, because at the end of the day, the money is going to come from the government.
Looking ahead, we've undergone twice a process of transformation of MAS, with varying degrees of success. Now, is this the best time for MAS to really bite the bullet for the unions, for Khazanah, for everyone else? You know, there is no more dilly-dallying. MAS is not insolvent because it's still got cash, but at the current burn rate is going through its cash hoard by. It will only last for another 12 months at the most.
Yes.
So if everyone realizes that this is the time to act and really bite the bullet, do you think this is the best time for MAS to come up to emulate what JAL, what Garuda did?
Okay, if you look regionally, the airline which is doing the best or the best financial performance for an airline is Singapore Airlines. Singapore Airlines has been a dominant player in the aviation industry in the region and also globally. It's one of the best run companies in the world. And if Mars, if you look at the double tragedy that Mars suffered, that was not the only problem that Mars has at the moment, because it has already been suffered losses for the last 3 years. So there are problems. There are problems, and if you look at the load factor of Mars, it's exceeding 80%. So they are filling up the planes. But what is the real issue with Mars is the margin erosion, because to compete with the low cost carriers, they have been slashing their prices. So you have to look at the business model of the aviation industry itself. So Mars has got to look at probably being a hybrid airline, or offering low cost and also full services in its model.
The way you are talking about Mars, Ranjit, I think you're one of those optimistic few. I think if Khazanah were to offer you 120,000 ringgit a month in salary, would you take up the challenge of reviving Mars now?
Definitely.
Thank you very much. That is the considered opinion of Ranjit. This is just us talking about something which I think all the boardrooms, Khazanah itself will be talking about. Whether it will come to fruition, I think this is the best time to do it. We'll all wait with bated breath to see what they come up with this time round. Starting yesterday, for those who didn't realize it, if you went to your regular Mama Ahon, there's football on the screen, on the telly, and Manchester City played Arsenal. And you know, what is it they say about waiting for the London bus? You know, you wait and wait and wait, nothing. But when one comes, there's another 5 coming along behind you. So that is the what happened to Arsenal. They won the FA Cup in May for the last season, and yesterday they won another cup. So even before the new BPL league has started, they've already got one trophy in the cabinet, and they beat Manchester City of all teams, the team that has been expensively assembled with Middle Eastern money, yeah? Unlike Manchester United, which is part owned by the Glazers, which is majority owned by the Glazers, and a lot of people are thinking of their affiliations now. Do I support Manchester United anymore? But we leave that, let sleeping dogs lie. So most of the BPL fans in this office can look forward to another, 40 matches or so from now until May for the entire BPL season. And that's when people will, it's quite amazing that Malaysians here know more about the teams and injuries and the private lives of players in the BPL, which is a million miles away as far as I'm concerned, rather than where is Safi Salih now?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen him in a while.
Who he? So I think really we should take more interest in what goes on with local football. The fact that yesterday there was a big send-off. We are going to participate in the Suzuki Cup. Remember, there was one time when about 3 years ago when we won the cup in hostile territory, where we had to be bussed. We weren't bussed. We were taken in an armored personnel carrier to the stadium in order to play and to get out of the stadium with life and limb in one piece.
Right.
That is the power of football in this part of the world. By all accounts, the World Cup in Brazil went off very well despite local protests. People from different countries got along well. There was no hooliganism between countries that, some countries would be at war with each other. I think Croatia was participating, so was Bosnia. So if these people, if they still had harbored memories of civil war from Central Europe some time back, I think more than a decade ago, that would be a perfect opportunity for people who are driven by football. Football does this to you. It draws the most basic instinct. As you can see, even Indonesians and Malaysia, when you quarrel over the round ball, certain things can happen.
But so social politics gets dragged into sports as well.
It does, because football is where rugby is played, a game of yobs played by gentlemen,
right.
And football is the other way around. So apart from football, over the weekend, if anyone here follows golf, I follow golf. I can watch golf the whole day, the whole 4 days, Thursday to Sunday, first round, second, third and fourth, because of the exploits of Tiger Woods. Now, Woods is quickly being replaced by Rory Mcllroy. He's from Northern Ireland. He is being touted as the next person who will be able to emulate Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus, as well as overtake Nicklaus's record of 18 major victories. Now, people who do not know golf, majors are the big tournaments. The US has got 3 tournaments, and and Britain has one. They proudly call it the Open. There's only one Open to them, which is the British Open. Now, Rory Mcllroy won the British Open about 2-3 weeks ago, and he kept it with successive victory in the USPGA. So at the age of 25, he's got 4 titles, 4 majors. They're not just ordinary titles, but majors. Tiger Woods is stuck on 14. He needs 4 more to match Nicklaus's record of 18 majors. But Nicklaus himself has gone on to say, Rory Woods, if he stays healthy and he doesn't get into trouble with women, because the Tiger Woods went on this downslide with that celebrated incident where he was hunted with a golf club by his ex-wife. So Rory, if you want, in fact, Rory has said that he broke up with his German tennis player girlfriend. And when he broke up, that was some time back, he concentrated. He had nothing else to do but concentrate on golf, and look where he is now. So, the moral of the story is...
No relationships.
Ditch the bag. Oh, what am I saying? Golf bag, yeah? No. Okay. So, apart from that, tennis, I also follow what goes on, the fortunes of the Williamses, Venus and Serena. When Venus was when she burst into the scene, of course she had a very pushy dad. Dad commented on her early successes, the time when she beat Navratilova, Chris Evert, and Graf, and people were saying, "Wow, this is a breath of fresh air," because here is a black family. Tennis is known for being a very elitist white sport. They grew up being coached by their father. They, meaning Venus and her sister. When Venus burst into the scene, her father said, "You've not seen anything yet, because wait for her sister, who is 2 years younger. She is even better." And it turned out to be true, because Serena has won more titles than Venus. But at the age of 34 for Venus and 32 for Serena, I believe that for a woman, they peak in their sporting prowess by the time they are between 33 and 35. So there's still a few major titles left between them, I think. And we are lucky in that we live in an era where we see the dominance of these 2 black players in sport which is very white dominated. So enjoy it while it lasts. So that's our coverage for this week. We are starting the week as we did for a second time. So I think Zan, how do our audience out there get to see it?
Well, of course, you can go on our channel, right? And also on astroawani.com. And it looks like an interesting week.
Okay, so we come again next week then to see if we didn't make any predictions, right? But we will want to know whether Selangor will have a new Menteri Besar or not.
We should start making predictions after this.
Yes, we should. And then we get our audience to see whether they agree or not with us.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.